Well, welcome viewers, Dr. J.W. Ayub, theologist, Central Coast, New South Wales. You have seen some political type presentations on the channel, but Australia's become so morally spent, might be the right word, that I just wanted to do a spin on Australia's moral political leakage, the spending, the secrecy, the immigration pressure, and the ISIS bride controversy, amongst the fact that there's nowhere for people to live. They've lost tens of billions of dollars in unproductive housing schemes and things like that. And the Australian political climate is no longer suffering isolated scandals. A deeper pattern is emerging. Public money defended through technical legality, immigration policy managed through bureaucratic distancing, and national security decisions increasingly handled behind controlled political messaging. The issue is no longer simply whether conduct is lawful. The issue is whether leadership still fears moral exposure, and the evidence is they don't. The entitlement culture problem within the political, structure has now become transparent because of social media. Communications Minister, just one example, Annika Wells, who I believe was a scapegoat for the e-safety woman, who I believe spent way more than what Annika Wells did. She had to repay more than $10,000 after an independent Parliamentary Expenses Authority investigation found breaches involving family travel expenses. Sky News Australia reported the minister was ordered to repay taxpayer money after several flights breached parliamentary travel rules, and she only did it because she was caught. So the scandal's not merely administrative error. The deeper issue is behavioural conditioning inside political culture itself. Public funds appear accessible first, while accountability arrives later through watchdog intervention and media pressure. At the same time, the ABC reporting showed politicians collectively charged taxpayers roughly $1.1 million for family travel over a 12-month period. Ordinary Australians facing rent pressure, mortgage pressure and inflation increasingly see political life operating under a separate comfort structure. And the moral questionability of all of this in this section is 78% serious concern. Then if you look at the ISIS bride political shockwave, the greatest moral intensity now surrounds the return of what used to be, I don't think they are anymore, Australian women linked to Islamic State detention camps in Syria. Reuters confirmed 2 returned women were charged with crimes against humanity involving alleged slavery offences against Yazidi victims, while another woman faces terrorism-related charges as well. Sky News Australia and Associated Reporting intensified scrutiny over how the Albanese government managed the repatriations and the secrecy surrounding operational arrangements, and the long-term monitoring burden now placed upon intelligence and law enforcement and the costs associated with that while people are struggling. The political contradiction has become explosive. Australians are repeatedly told migration systems require strict control, security threats require vigilance, borders require discipline, yet governments simultaneously facilitate the return of ISIS brides linked nationals under tightly managed communication frameworks. And this reintroduction of these ISIS brides to Australia is set to cost tens of millions of dollars annually. For many Australians, the outrage is not merely legal citizenship rights. The outrage is symbolic. Families are struggling through housing shortages, infrastructure stress, and economic deterioration. And they now watch governments mobilise extraordinary legal policy, intelligence, rehabilitation and monitoring resources for individuals associated with one of the world's most notorious extremist movements. And this is where public trust fractures. The public begins asking whether elite humanitarian language is selectively applied with ordinary Australians absorbing the social, financial and security consequences. And the moral questionability of this is 91% severe concern. Then we have immigration without human presence. The Administrative Review Tribunal reforms allowing some immigration decisions to occur on the papers without oral hearings intensified concerns that immigration administration is becoming increasingly mechanised. Efficiency may involve processing times, but morality asks a harder question. When governments remove human hearing processes from life-changing decisions, does justice slowly become administrative throughput? And the moral questionability of this is 82% severe concern. So in closing, and this is just an overview, Australia's growing political crisis is not merely financial or administrative, it is moral. The public increasingly perceives a leadership class insulated from consequence, protected by procedural legality, and buffeted from the emotional realities experienced by ordinary citizens. And once governments stop fearing moral shame, public trust begins collapsing long before the institutions do. I'm Dr. J.W. Morrison. Bye for now.